You are welcome to Project Statistics YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about independent sample t-test in SPSS. We are going to actually investigate if there is any significant difference between ages of church members in this research. So in this video, we are not only going to learn how to analyze in SPSS, but we are going to also understand how to set up your research and understand the processes involved in carrying out your research. So it's going to be a whole lot of information in this video, and I want to encourage you to watch this video to the end. So we're going to first of all understand the data sets we are going to use in this research analysis. Here we have a data set for this study was developed following an article that was published in one of the national dailies stating that Pentecost ministry members are younger in age as compared to any other church in the country. So this is a claim, and we want to test whether this claim is true. So, and to do that, we record the ages of a sample of 40 members of Pentecost ministry and 55 members of Ark ministry in the country. And we're going to answer some of interesting questions. Is there any difference in average age between members of Pentecost ministry and Ark ministry? And we'll also find out which church has the lowest average age of members. So this is a research problem, and we'll see how we're going to state the null hypothesis, bring out the claim, and understand the variables involved in this analysis. So it's very important you understand how to set up your variables, how to group your variable, how to um, choose the right statistical tool based on the kind of data and the variable you have. So those decisions are very important for you to be a good analyst, and I'm going to talk about them in this video. So it's a whole lot of information here. We're going to understand what a research problem is. Then we also talk about the statement of the claim that we saw in the situation we raised in the research. Then we develop questionnaire. How do you go about developing a questionnaire when you have seen your research problem and the claim? And also I talk about the objective, which is to test if there is a significant difference in the average age between the two church groups. So we also construct the null hypothesis based on the claim. So we're going to do all these things in this video. You will know what a hypothesis is, and how you construct your hypothesis and your null hypothesis. Then we also see how to label the groups. As we can see, the Pentecost ministry is labeled 1 and the Ark ministry is labeled 2. So understanding independent sample t-test, you also need to understand independent sample t-test and why we are deploying it in this particular research. What is the reason behind using independent sample t-test to do a study like this? So we are going to know when and why to use independent sample t-test to do, because this is a very important part of being a data analyst. Your ability to understand your data, your variables, and choose the appropriate statistics to analyze it. So we're also going to talk about data preparation in SPSS. How do you input your data into the software? It's a very important part, because if you don't put this data in the right way, you cannot get the right result. Then before we now properly go into running independent sample t-test in SPSS, interpreting results, and coming to a conclusion and interpretation to know if our claim is supported or not supported. So we're going to do a whole lot in this video. So here we'll first of all talk about our the questionnaire. How do we develop our data? The questionnaire helps you to um, get data from the respondents. You are supposed to develop your questionnaire based on the objective you want to achieve. Now look at my first question here. How old are you? Because we are talking about ages of church members. You need to set a question that will get the ages of the church members, and that is, how old are you and which church do you belong to, or which church are you a member of? Pentecost ministry and Ark ministry. So this is a categorical variable. Most of the time you put your categorical variable in options. Any categorical variable that has any variable that is categorical are the ones you are going to put the options so that people will choose. When you are developing a questionnaire, every question is a variable. So, and variables in the option in the form of options are going to be categorical variable as you put them in SPSS. How old are you? This is going to be a scale variable. That means a continuous variable. This one, they are going to just tell you the age, their age in years. I think this is for Pentecost ministry. After sharing your questionnaire, this is your questionnaire. You share your questionnaire to the respondents, then they will respond, and you are going to get your data from the responses, and you record them in your own Excel file. Most of the time, you record your responses in your Excel and arrange them before you put them in SPSS. So here we have the Pentecost ministry. Look at their responses here. 40 persons have responded with their ages in years, not days. Here, there was a mistake here. So we have the ages of the church members. The Pentecost ministry members are here, and the Ark ministry. This is their ages. There are about 55 of them. So having done your questionnaire, you went out and shared the questionnaire to the people that are going to answer them. Then you now collect your questionnaire by getting the data out from the questionnaire. That is how you get your research questionnaire and your research data. So here we're going to talk about the statement of the claim that is even making us to start the analysis or the research in the first place. The claim in the national dailies here state that the Pentecost ministry members are younger in age as compared to any other church in the country. So this is a statement that can make you want to do research to find out if the claim is true. And here we want to uh, we want to test if there is a significant difference in the average age between the two church groups. And here we have our null hypothesis. Now, how do you construct your null hypothesis having known your claim? Because I did a video on hypothesis testing. I will encourage you to watch that video. So here, your null hypothesis is a statement that contradicts your claim. Now that our claim here is that Pentecost ministry members are younger in age than every other church in the country. Now, our null hypothesis is going to contradict our claim by saying that there is no difference between the ages of the church groups. So, this is how you do your null hypothesis. There is no difference, and you go ahead and collect your data to show whether you are going to accept the null hypothesis or reject the null hypothesis. So we're going to come back to this null hypothesis at the end of our analysis to see if we are going to accept the null hypothesis or we're going to reject the null hypothesis. So in doing that, we are going to define our variables. We have um, two variables here. So ability to make out your variables from your research problem is very important. So here we have age and church as the two variables we are going to use in this research. Now the church has two categories. The church is a variable that has two categories, Pentecost ministry and Ark ministry. And we are going to assign groups to this. Uh, we are going to assign code to these groups. As you can see, we label Pentecost ministry 1 and the Ark ministry 2. Why we do this is because SPSS don't accept strange variables as input. So whenever you are inputting data in SPSS, you represent it as a numeric value before putting it in SPSS. So for this Pentecost ministry, we cannot put Pentecost ministry as a strange variable in SPSS, but rather we use one which is a numeric variable to represent it before we put it in SPSS. Now we need to understand why we are using SPSS. How did this data we have suit into independent sample t-test? Now, as you can see, the two variables we have is church and age, and church has two categorical variables. Sorry, church has two groups. Church has two groups, the Pentecost and the Ark ministry against age. So this is a structure of independent sample t-test where you have a categorical variable that has only two groups being compared against a continuous variable like age. So independent sample is used to test whether the mean of two groups differ on a continuous dependent variable, and we deploy independent sample t-test whenever we are comparing a categorical variable that has only two groups with a continuous variable. And in this research, we can see that this is fitting into what independent sample t-test is, and that is why we have decided to use independent sample, because knowing the statistical test to use is very important, because when you have your research problem, we have a lot of statistical tests. Are you going to use ANOVA? When do you deploy ANOVA? When do you deploy independent t-test? When do you deploy chi-square? These are important questions you need to ask, and the very um reason that we are using independent sample t-test is because our data here, the categorical variable, has only two groups, and we are comparing it against a continuous dependent variable. I have a video that teaches us how to identify a categorical variable, a continuous variable, scale, and all that. So look for that video in our channel and watch that video. So going forward, I'm going to take you to SPSS right now so that we'll see how we um, put in our data in SPSS. So we are in SPSS right now. I'm going to have my age. I go down and put in um, age and church. Age and church. Now I have my church as church is a nominal data, age is scale data. Now I will come to my nominal data. I will say that 1 is equals to Pentecost ministry. I will click on add. I will go to number 2. I will click on arc ministry. So I've created my grouping. This is under the variable view. I have my age and my church. Under the value, I have added my code, and please make sure you put here, these are the three main columns that are very important for you to know. So I will now go back to my the data view here. in the data view, I'm going to put in my values right now. So for, let me take it from here. So for Pentecost, I'm going to collect the data from for Pentecost ministry. So Pentecost ministry is going to, this is their age of best, and this is their Pentecost ministry is group 1. So I'm going to add all this under group 1. I think this one will come under group 2. So let me go back and remove this. So we have about 40 members of group 1, which is the Pentecost church. Then I go and then directly under this, you press the group 2. Okay, so here we have this is how you set up your data. So first of all, we have this age and church members, and they are in numeric format. Then our church has 2 groups. So under value, you come and put 2 groups here. So input these uh, values here for the categorical values of church and make it nominal. So this is how to set it up in SPSS, and when you do that, you can now go ahead and do your analysis. So here I'm going to analyze, compare mean, then independent t-test. So here we're going to move our age. Age is a continuous variable. We put it inside the test variables here. And church, that is a categorical variable, we put it, and we have to define the groups here as 1 and 2. You do that. So when you do that, you now click on OK to do your analysis. Now this is the output from your SPSS, and as we can see that the Pentecost ministry, about 40 members of the Pentecost ministry took part in the research, and 55 members from ARC ministry took part in the research, and their mean average age is 26 for Pentecost ministry and 35 for ARC ministry. So as you can see, we have a difference in the average age of the 2 churches. Now, to know whether this number is statistical significant, to know if this difference is significant, we look at the independent sample test table and look at the p-value here, which is the SIG2 test. Now our p-value here is 0.00, which is less than 0.05. And if it is less than 0.05, means that we're going to reject the null hypothesis. And when we reject the null hypothesis, it means that we can say that there is a significant difference between the ages of the church members. There is a significant difference between the ages of church members. Now, we also have another option of making our decision. I made a video on how to make decision on hypothesis testing. So you can also watch that video Now, another way you can make a decision is by checking on your T statistic. If your T statistic is greater than 1 point plus or minus 1.96, that means it lies on the rejection zone. So here we are definitely going to reject the null hypothesis and conclude that there is a significant difference between the Pentecost ministry members and the Ark of God, Ark ministry members. And you can see that the national dailies is actually very correct by saying that Pentecost ministry members have a lower average age than the Ark ministry members. So we can assume that the Pentecost ministry, their claim is actually correct in this situation. So let me take you back to PowerPoint. So as you can see that we are going to reject the null hypothesis that say that there is no significant difference between the ages of church groups. So here we are going to reject the null hypothesis and accept the fact that the Pentecost ministry members are younger in age as compared to the ARC ministry members. So I want you to kindly like this video, share it, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can get more videos of this kind. I also want to encourage you, if you want to go deeper into research analysis using SPSS, I have my book here. You can go to Amazon and uh, get the book by yourself or for yourself. And if you have any data analysis or research work, you can also contact me for that.